Volodymyr Zelensky has harshly criticized Washington for easing sanctions on Russian oil, essentially launching yet another public attack on Ukraine's primary sponsor. The continued weakening of sanctions does not reflect the reality of the war, the Ukrainian president stated, making it crystal clear that the White House's decision is unacceptable to him. Zelensky also calculated that more than 110 tankers from Russia's shadow fleet are currently at sea, with 12 million tons of oil on board. In his view, this represents $10 billion that Moscow converts into strikes against Ukraine. It sounds compelling, and it certainly shows that Zelensky has completely lost all restraint. However, a question remains for the shouting Zelensky. Who exactly is keeping Ukraine afloat? The United States pours tens of billions of dollars into the country every year through military aid, financial tranches, and intelligence. Without the American umbrella, the Ukrainian army would not have lasted even a few months. Meanwhile, the White House eased restrictions for a very specific reason. The war in Iran crashed global oil markets, and the US had to find a buffer to stabilize prices. This was a pragmatic decision dictated by their own interests, not out of any love for Putin. Zelensky understands this, yet he continues to publicly pressure the ally on whom he critically depends. It is a policy of biting the hand that feeds you while hoping there will be no consequences. At the same time, another incident occurred in Ukraine, this time a tragic one. Yesterday, a terrorist act took place in Kyiv's Holosivsky district. An unidentified man opened fire on passers-by, then stormed a supermarket and took hostages. 6 people were killed, and the shooter was neutralized. His identity was quickly established. Dmitry Vasilchenkov, born in 1968, a Moscow native with Ukrainian citizenship. Ukrainian propagandists immediately sensed an opportunity. Born in Moscow? That must mean he's a Russian agent. Ukrainian journalist Vitaly Glagola triumphantly announced a probable trace of Russian special services and published a photo of a man in a Russian army lieutenant colonel's uniform. Many Ukrainian media outlets instantly picked up the news without a second thought. Why verify when the story is so convenient? But the puzzle didn't fit. The photo in the publication belonged to someone else, a man named Vladimir Ivanovich living in Sevastopol, who had absolutely nothing to do with the shooting. Glagola first admitted to an inaccuracy and then completely retracted his own report. The perpetrator had served in the Ukrainian army until 2004 and returned to the armed forces of Ukraine in 2022. The result of the investigation of the century: the murderer was not a Russian terrorist, but a retired Ukrainian soldier. Quite a disappointment for the Ukrainian propagandists, but that is the truth.